Good afternoon, everybody. This is third time lucky, hopefully. We're having some technical difficulties with ATP Tour player Marco Trungeletti, ranked currently 231 in the world, with the best ranking of 112 last year in 2019. Does it sound okay now, guys? Is it my side? Is it his side? Javi, can you hear me okay? Is it echoing still?
No entra.
Ahora.
Yo escucho perfecto.
Yo también.
Pero si vos no tenés auricular y eso.
Tengo.
Bueno. A ver, espera que mi esposa avisa. No, este no es.
Ahora quizás se escuche mejor ahora o no.
No, para mí sí, pero no tengo ningún problema en escuchar. Que la gente diga algo.
Sí, la gente que está escuchando.
Si no, probá vos con los auriculares tuyos.
Lo que pasa, luego me quita la voz y luego no...
A ver si...
Okay. Si se escucha bien, alguno.
Yo sí. Yo perfecto.
También.
Ahora no hay eco, así que...
Sí, ¿no? Vamos bien, ¿no?
Sí.
Bueno, me preparo, tengo la raquetita ya montada.
Perfecto.
Espera que me ponga un poquito más aquí, creo. Vamos a subirle un poquito a la altura.
¿Qué pasa, hermoso?
So, Marco, how are you dealing with coronavirus?
No, not too bad. Just be doing almost normal life, not practicing tennis at all, anything, because the clubs here, of course, are closed. But just doing yoga, just different stuff, reading books, trying to play the piano, and then just simple things that I don't used to do while I'm playing tennis or anything like that. So it's just very relaxed for me.
Simple things. It must be simple for you to play the piano.
Yeah. I'm just starting to learn.
Okay.
It's something that I really like it, but it's a little complicated at the beginning with the fingers and everything, and how to put the hands and how to read the things and everything. But it's getting better, I guess.
Cool. And you are in Andorra, right?
Andorra, exactly, in the middle of the mountains.
Very nice. And you live there all year normally when you're not traveling on the tour?
Yeah. I like to be here. I love actually to be here in this very quiet place with no many humans, more animals than humans. So for me, it's perfect. And then it's a completely different life comparison to the cities or even comparison to London. Here it's very, very relaxed and just a different timing for do almost whatever you want to do.
Cool. And your training, are you training every day same time, or are you a little bit more relaxed, try to just listen to your body a little bit? How are you doing with training?
The first 2 weeks, I think I rested for I think I really needed that time just to be relaxed, not doing many things at all, but always with a kind of routine, like stretching a lot, doing some yoga, trying to respect the time, the normal time, like waking up kind of early, it's not very early, but around 8:30 to 9 a.m. just to have a proper breakfast, enough time to read or whatever, have a lunch, and then maybe take a nap, maybe not, usually not in my case, but my wife does it. and then some fitness because it was in my club. They were doing some live on Instagram also with the yogas or whatever. And it was quite good for me. And then when we were going to the bed, just normal time for us, around 10 or 11 p.m. Just trying to be normal, even if it's not normal.
Yeah, what's normal, right? Yeah, exactly. But you were born in Argentina, right?
Yeah, I was born in Argentina, at the north of the country, like 1,000 kilometers from the capital. It's like I think it's even more far than from Brighton to the south up to the north to Scotland. It's much more kilometers. But in Argentina, everything is so like long, so it's normal for us to have like 12 hours driving travels or something like that. And then after 10 years, I was living in Buenos Aires later on, and then I moved to here, to Europe, and just to change the quality of life, and it really did it. So I'm very happy to be here.
What made you move to Andorra?
I was living in Barcelona for the last year, and then, I mean, not last year, the year before. And the city, for me and for my wife, it was too much, I guess. Like too much noise, too much people, and we didn't want that. We knew it, that it was just a city that we were there because of the tennis, but nothing else than that. And at the end, we were going to move from there anyway, even if after 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years, exactly the same. We really loved Switzerland because of the mountains and the stuff. And suddenly we found here in Andorra a perfect place for us. It's not as quiet as Switzerland, so for us it was perfect. And then we are very comfortable here, so it's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's easy to find players to train with in Andorra, or
for practice.
Yeah, to practice. Yeah.
No, there is 2 clubs actually. One you can play on summertime or perhaps spring, but then on winter is tough because there is no indoors. I mean, there is just outdoor, normal, hardcore.
Really, no indoor court, huh?
No, there is just one indoor court that is on the is where I used to practice, and where I try to practice. The only thing that we have some trouble is with the surface, because it's like a kind of moquette. I don't know if you say like this in English.
Moquette. It's like it's like a fast surf, like a hard court, but
it's completely different. There is no tournament on that surface. So we are trying to change it a little bit to make it a bit better. It's a bit of altitude there. It's around 1,200 meters, but for me it's perfect, because then when you go to the sea level, it's much more. You have much more air in your body, so it's. I enjoy it. I mean, if you think too much about that, then it won't get better. But in my case, I just try to take advantage of it, and then especially with the fitness. I just go to the middle of the mountains. I just do fitness there instead of a gym, and but I like it. That's why I am here.
Whatever makes you happy, right?
Exactly.
So changing a little bit the conversation, I want to ask you a few questions about your rackets and strings and stuff. So you're currently playing with head, right? With head rackets. Which racket is it?
It's Prestige. I started with playing with Prestige since I was 17, so it's 13 years ago. And I have always played with the same racket, not the same weight, because I'm getting older, so now I'm just going down a little bit, but always the same racket. Before I was using head as a string, and then I changed 10 years ago. I changed it to Solinco, and I was playing with Solinco, the Turbite. And then after 7 years or something like that, I changed it again with one that is just going to be. I don't know if they are selling it right now or it was about to be on the stores, but it's called Confidential. And just for me, it was the perfect balance between one string and the other one, and it helped me a little bit with the controlling the ball and everything. So it's, since then, I'm just using the same string, pretty much the same tension as well. I don't change that much.
So you're using Confidential now?
Yeah.
The polyester string was 125, 130?
I think it's 125. 130 is too much because as my racket has too many strings, so it's
1820. Yeah.
1820. And I mean, I can't say that it's heavy because in total now it weighs is around 350 grams, so it's not that much, but it's not light.
It's not
light. And then so I usually that one is I tried a few more, but this one is perfect because it doesn't lose any tension at all while I'm playing. That for me is really important. That I had some little problems before when I was using different strings before, when I was 16 or 17 or something like that. But now I have no more problems with that, and I'm happy, perfectly happy.
Okay. And what grip size do you have?
It's 4/3/8. I don't know how they say it in English.
Oh, grip size 4.
Yeah, exactly. And then I use a leather grip, no more upper grip. I started to do it 3 years ago, something like that, maybe 4 already. And I like it at the beginning. It was perfect. I just felt it a little bit more, the racket and the sensations and everything. And I think that I just needed a change. Of course, it's tough for the hand and everything, but especially in winter. Then summertime, I have no problem at all. So it's perfect. But in winter, it is tough because with the cold and everything, then sometimes I had some like blood. Simple blood, and yeah, that's the only thing. Especially when I have some off time playing tennis, then when I come back, it's a bit complicated at the beginning, but then I just get used and everything works.
And in summer, it doesn't get with the sweat. It doesn't slide.
No, nothing at all. It's just I just keep the racket on my hand, and it never go away.
Interesting. And what tension are you playing with?
Usually, I use 22 pounds.
22 pounds? Okay.
Yeah, 22 pounds, not more than that.
22 kilos. 22 kilos, which is like, like around 51 pounds, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Maybe a bit
49, 50.
Exactly. It depends. Usually, for me, it depends on the ball. Sometimes, if I go to play Wimbledon, then the ball gets much more bigger,
fluffy,
and it's much more heavier. So I have to use less tension because the way it is. Otherwise, my arm is broken after 2 games, and I don't want it. But it depends. It depends on the place that I go. I mean, for me, it doesn't change that much when I go to some tournaments that there is some altitude. For example, Stade or some challenger events on Colombia that it was before there, where the altitude is very, very high, it's around 2,500 meters. So it's very, very high. But I just don't change because I like the way always the ball gets into my racket and just I think it's just something absolutely personal, I guess.
Yeah, of course, for everybody, exactly. But normally, I guess the normal is when you go high, you go a little bit higher on the tension with high altitude, and then sea level, you go down a little bit, and then of course you adapt probably to clay on hard court, or do you play always the same on hard and clay tension? I
just play always the same. I don't like to change that much. What I was saying, I just depend on the ball. If the ball gets too big, then I just put less tension and it works for me. Otherwise, if the ball is completely different, if it just get smaller, then maybe I put a little bit more, not too much. But when I change, it's about half of the kilo, or just 1 pound or 1.5 pounds maximum, not more than that. Yeah. I don't want to go far away from where I know already.
And do you know how to string? Have you strung rackets before?
Yeah.
You know how to string?
When I was young, I was doing a lot. When I was 10, 11, 12, my uncle gave us like one string. It was semi-automatic at that time. It was perfect for us. My brother at that time was playing, and he was cutting a string, cutting unbelievable, like 2 times a day. It was something unbelievable. Of course, the string wasn't that good. That's why he was cutting a lot. But it was perfect for us. And then when I was 21, 22, then I just stopped because it was too much. Just to go to play tournaments, to play a match, singles, doubles, practice or whatever. And then once I go back to home or to the hotel and then keep like stringing and do it, it was too much. It was too much. So I just got tired.
So you were stringing your rackets for quite a long time then, not just a few years, for quite a long time.
Quite a long time, because you save a lot of money, I guess. Sometimes in the tournaments they charge you a lot, and I think sometimes it's too much. But it's not something that I want to save money on that. And just when I go to the tournament, I just want to be focused. I use that time to study my opponents or anything like that, or to stretch, or just for me that those things are more important, and that's why I don't try to save money on that, even if it's too much at the end of the week.
Fair enough. Thank you. And how many rackets do you string for each match normally?
Maximum 2. Maximum 2. Yeah, because I don't cut them. When I'm playing I'm not a guy who plays with a lot of spin or long rallies or anything like that. So I just don't cut. And I use it for. Usually I change after the second or the third change, ball change. Yeah. So it's after 18 games or maybe a bit more. Maybe on the third set, if I'm going to start the third set, then I change it. But I just don't think too much on that. When I'm feeling that the string is getting softer or anything like that, or if I'm not feeling well the ball, not as an excuse, but not really feeling well, then I just change it and that's it.
And how long is the string last you normally? If you're training, let's say if you play a few hours a day, if you're training, how often are you breaking the string?
I think it lasts 3 days maximum.
3 days?
Yeah, 3 days. Here in Andorra is different because it's dry. It's much more dry than any other place, and then I cut it a bit faster, maybe a day and a half. But if I go to any tournament that the humidity is like more normal, then after 2 or 3 days I can use it. The thing is that it's losing too much tension, so I have to change it anyway. But I don't cut it. It's just
save some money, no?
Yeah. It's something that is. If I going to take a racket and I feel it's exactly. If I feel that it's exactly the same as the day before, then I continue to use it. I don't change it because of just I moved from one day to another one. So for me, it's like more simple. As I was saying, when I feeling that the string is losing some tension, then I just change it, and start it again.
You just go with the feeling.
Yeah, exactly. But it depends also if I'm about to leave to another tournament, then usually the stringer, as you may know, is completely different. The conditions are different. So once you get to that tournament, you want to try the stringer, see if the tension is the right one, is the one that you think, if the racket is well done strong, or I don't know how to say, but it depends. It depends a lot of things. So if I lose, then I just don't try to keep stringing the racket that way unless I really need it. But otherwise, I just go somewhere else to the other tournament, and I do it. I do it there.
Have you ever had a really bad experience with the stringer on the Futures or Challenger maybe?
Yeah, usually I think it was on the more on Futures. Challenger events sometimes are not quite good, but sometimes there is just one stringer for the whole tournament, and that's not good for anyone, not even for the guy who is there working 24/7. And I think it's not even fair for anyone. Sometimes there are two guys that at the beginning of the tournament you can find around like 48 players that wanted to get the racket string with the time and the day that they want, and of course, as you know, there is so many like ways that the player wants to the racket, like the cross, you want some tension, the other one you have some tension, pre-string, blah 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 blah. It's too many things, I guess. But not usually. I don't try to blame the guy who is stringing, because I know that is too much. Something different is when you go to the slams, that there are thousands of stringers, and then it's like it's more easier to do it well. But otherwise, I just don't try to blame the guy, even if it. But it happens to me once. I was in Caltanissette. It was a big challenger a few years ago, and it was only one woman stringing the rackets. Poor woman. It was like completely bleeding in the hands, everything, and everybody was complaining because she couldn't do anything. It was too much, too many players, too many rackets, and I wasn't able to try the racket before my match, and when I tried, it was much more. The tension was horrible, so I just hit it outside, long, short. It was a huge disaster, but it's something that you cannot. I mean, it's not her fault. It was the tournament fault, and it's the way it is sometimes.
Yeah, that's how it is. And how did you get into tennis? How did you start playing tennis?
My father was starting to play tennis. I think he was almost 40 when he started to play. He was watching a lot of matches, and then he was hitting against the wall. You know, the I don't know how to say it in English. And if this the wall, okay. And he was starting to play some matches, and we were going to the club. So I just started because I was watching him to play, and I think in my case I was starting to play with my older brother, and so for me it was easier because I had someone who I can practice. Beside, I had a wall there, so I was spending, I don't know, maybe 3 hours a day just hitting with the ball, hitting with the wall. It was very, very easy, and the wall was always there. So I didn't have to ask anybody to play with me beside wall. So it was perfect. And then my first lesson was when I was 5, and then from then on I just continued to play.
Yeah, same. My brother and I was the same. My father was playing as well, like a club player, and then we used to go and we used to watch him, and we used to start playing, and yeah, a little bit similar to Steven and myself.
Yeah.
And and changing again a little bit now. I know there's been some complications on the ATP tour over the last, I don't know, quite a few years.
Yeah.
If you had to be the director of the ATP tour, I'm playing with the wall now.
Yeah.
So if you had to be the director of the ATP now, what would be the first things you would change?
I think we're having some conversations with some players and even with the tour managers or those people, but there is still a big hole on that because the players outside of the top 100 are still not counting as the players, which is very, very, very poor. there is a lack of communication from the ATP that is unbelievable. I mean, I have never seen something similar to that, where the communication something that is pretty easy to do it, especially on these times where you have emails, you have everything, different ways to do it. But the lack of communications to the players outside of the top 100 is something that is completely unacceptable. And we already asked for that, but there is no answer. I don't know why it takes that much, why it takes so long to do it. And so I think it would be the first thing, and then the other. There is a lot of things that people usually doesn't know, but there is a lot of things that the tennis are not going well. In the situation that we are right now is something that it makes you see how exposed we are as tennis players, that we don't get any salary, we don't get any insurance in case we get injured. There is a lot of things going around, and a lot of things not working very well. One of the things that I already mentioned, but the communication is something that is difficult to understand, especially, as I said, especially in these times. And so we are trying to find like a little spot for us to have a voice, to start to change some little things. But I think in this situation, to be director of the ATP is something that it's a spot that I wouldn't want to be there right now, because the things are not doing well for the last probably 10 to 15 years, because it's tough to understand that also I'm pretty sure that there is a golden era about tennis right now with Roger, Nadal and Djokovic, and even though the tennis outside of the top 100 didn't improve pretty much, so it's exactly the same thing that it was as it was before these three guys. So it makes you wonder why it's not getting better, and I don't have the answer. I just don't think that they don't care about the rest of the guys. That's the way I see it.
Yeah. They made an announcement a few days ago, saying that from 250 in the world to 700 in the world, that maybe they would pay $10,000, I believe, to each player.
Yeah,
what do you think about? Because you're 231 at the moment, I think. So you wouldn't get it, right?
Yeah, I think the intention is not bad. I mean, you cannot blame that intention, but at the end, it's not. I mean, it doesn't fix the problem, because this problem was before this coronavirus, and it's going to be there after the coronavirus, because the system just is exactly a shit. Let's say in this world, because I feel for me there is no. It works like a monarchy, like 200 years ago, where just a few guys are living very rich, and then once you start to go down, then it's less, and until you get, like, if let's say that you are 106 in the world, which is an amazing ranking. It's difficult to find a profession that you are like ahead of you are just 105 people in the whole world. And even though the difference between being 106 and 99 is amazing, because it's something that is let's say that you being 99, you are going to get into the main draw of each Grand Slam, so you make around 160,000. So it's, make just make money. But then if you are 106, then you will have to play qualis, and the prize money is around 30,000. So the difference is too much. It's getting even wider and wider. So it's something that it has to change in long term, not just on short term. So this, of course, this help. This money that these people is thinking is good. As I said, the intention is good, but it doesn't fix the problem.
Of course. Yeah, it's a difficult one. It's a good intention, like you say, but I think my own personal opinion, I think it doesn't make sense. You'd think maybe the guy that's 100 to 300-400 maybe needed more, because actually the guy that's 600-700 doesn't even make 10,000. If you're only playing futures, it's very difficult to make 10,000 in 1 year. You have to win 7-8 futures. Well, unless it's 25k, then you have to maybe 6 or 7. But
but then you have to. But then you have to pay the ticket, you have to pay the coach, you have to pay everything. So at the end, there is not a chance that you're gonna make 10,000 pounds or dollars or whatever.
Of course,
so it's a big issue, and we are trying to find a kind of solution in long term. But for that, I think we need that the top guys, everyone included, is just willing to help, not just to give some money, because as I say, it doesn't help anything. It helps some guys, of course, because we need to eat. But even though we are already like a month in quarantine and a month and a half or something like that, and we didn't get anything. So the time is passing, and we have no answers. So even if they are waiting for something, I don't know for how long it's going to be suspended, the tour. For me, there is no chance until the next year. So it's pretty easy to see it, but I don't know why they are waiting that much. Why they wait, then some people are just struggling a lot, and it's something that it has to change.
Yeah, crazy times. Yeah, it was already bad, but now even worse.
Now even worse, because it just got exposed in every single phase of the tour. But even though you get, the slams is amazing that they are not. I don't know exactly if they are willing to help right now, but as far as I know, the money that they are giving is not even. It means nothing. It means nothing in this situation. So there is a lot of like private people or owners or governor bodies that they are on tennis, and it's tough to deal with everyone, and nobody wants to give anything. Everyone wants to get what they want, and it has to change the whole system. That's why it's not gonna work.
So let's change again a little bit, something maybe nicer.
No, it's okay. Either way,
What your favorite tournament?
Favorite tournament is Australia.
Australian Open.
Yeah. It was my first time that I qualified, and I like it. I like everything there. The atmosphere, the people. They don't make much difference between qualis and main draw, which is exactly the opposite that it happened in Wimbledon. Sometimes in Wimbledon is something that is embarrassing.
I've done 4 or 5 now Wimbledons with my brother, coaching my brother. And as you know, how many times have you played? Probably quite a few as well.
4 or 5, something like that.
4 or 5 as well. Roy Hampton, the qualifying, it's a disgrace. It's an embarrassment for tennis players.
Yeah, even some challengers event has better conditions than that. It's something that
even futures maybe.
Even futures maybe. So but the thing is that you don't even have a proper shower, because sometimes the shower gets too cold or too hot. There is not a way that you can regulate. The physio room for us, they just put some tables that it cost probably £5. So the physio, he couldn't lay on me, because he had to do some little things, as a physio, and he couldn't do it because the table was about to break, and it was pretty much the same for anything. If it rains, then you have no spot to be. There is a lot of people there. It doesn't matter if it's a normal human being or a tennis player or coaches or anything. Everything is in the same spot. You have just one little spot to be, and there is about 256 players plus coach plus family. And sometimes I just spent an hour waiting for my food while everybody was there. It's something that is not working well.
Because the players and the public, let's say, also eat in the same place. Everybody has to go to the same place.
Exactly. You have no place.
And that's one that changed. It changed 2 years ago, a few years ago. Now I think you can also get food in the players' room.
Yeah. But even though they don't allow you to practice there before Saturday, and once they open the club, then you can practice 45 minutes in the morning and 45 minutes in the afternoon four guys
sharing court.
sharing courts, which is for tennis is something that is pretty much unacceptable, especially for a Grand Slam. And I just think that the only one who accepts those conditions is the ATP, because supposedly the ATP is the one who represents us. But it seems that as we are not playing main draw, then we don't care. It's exactly what I'm not blaming the people who works on Roehampton. It's something different. It's
their job, right? They're just doing their job.
They are there. They just try to do their best. So they have they are no guilty in this situation. Yeah. But the way the tournament is organized and it just don't fix. It's not good.
Yeah. So your favorite tournament's Australia. We'll keep that one in our mind. Yeah. And your favorite victory or your favorite moment in tennis.
I think favorite moment was in Australia the first time when I qualified to the main draw, when I was playing qualis. There was an amazing feeling. But then my favorite match was against Cilic in Roland Garros the same year. So I qualified in both, in Australia and then in Paris, and I enjoyed it a lot. But at the end it's just one match. So it's what it is.
It's okay. So was Cilic top 10 there, top 20? What was his ranking?
I think it was 10 or 11 in the world. So it was perfect.
Was it the same year where you almost became famous for this story with the driving from Paris?
It was 2 years before. 2 years before. It was
2016.
Yeah, it was Cilic was 2016, and this with the driving situation was 2018.
Yeah, that was a pretty crazy story. Where you lost in the last round of qualies, got into main draw, lucky loser. But at that point, you already left. You had left. You had gone back to Barcelona, I think.
Exactly, I was in Barcelona, just eating barbecue and just doing normal life again. And then suddenly I went back to Paris and just ready to play.
And you won a match, I think, as well, right?
I won a match. I got lucky because I played against Tomic. He never liked to play long rallies. His favorite surface is not clay for sure. With the combination that I was playing well, then I'm not saying that, because if you qualify to the main draw, it means that you are playing very well, especially Paris. But at the end, in that situation, I think I got some extra lucky.
And I know you had a little bit of a difficult situation. Was it last year with the slight betting scandal? Something happened. I know it's a very long story. Can be a long story, but can you tell us in very short what happened? And there's lots of comments and things going on. It's hard to understand.
Just as simple as it is. Just the TIU, which is the government, the body that it helps. It is there to regulate the corruption in tennis. So this TIU and the ATP and WTA and every Grand Slams, even the ITF, they are there, and they tell you that if somebody approaches you with the possibility to fix the matches, then you have to report it. So I did it, and then they asked me to be on the court with facing the other guys, and by video call. It wasn't nice, it wasn't good, but at the end I felt that it was what I had to do. But the bad thing, it came after where the ATP didn't show any support. These guys were telling a bunch of lies or anything. It was too much. Even journalists in the middle, and then it just got worse until I was in a 250 event in Argentina, and I was just feeling so unsafe because of this situation, and because of these people, that there was a lot of Argentinians not saying hi anymore, coaches and everything, So it wasn't a nice situation, and we just decided to make it public. And that's where it starts everything.
It's the way it should be, I think.
Yeah. I mean, if it wouldn't, I mean, it doesn't have to be that complicated. It's just simply as it is. Somebody comes, you make a report, and then if anything goes wrong, then supposedly the TIU and the ATP has to be there for any like bad situation that you are going through. But they didn't. Only the TIU, after I asked them many times, after the press pressure was too much, then they did it. But it's not a nice situation, and the message was clear for everyone. I mean, if you are going to do what they ask you to do, which is supposedly the right thing, then they are not going to help you if anything happens to you.
It's incredible.
While you are in this process.
It's almost like you're the bad guy for doing the right thing.
Yeah, exactly. So it's the way it is. Sometimes I just don't regret about anything. I wish that and I keep wishing that the ATP one day, even with a private message, I'm not even asking for a public announcement or anything, but with a private message asking, are you okay, or something very simple. But they didn't do it, they won't do it, and it's a very sad situation, I guess, regarding everyone. It's not just about me. It's a clear example of how they are going to act in case of anyone do the right thing.
Incredible. Are you the only one that's come out, possibly?
Just Stakowski said something a few days ago, that somebody approached to him like 10 years ago or 12 years ago, offering him about $100,000 in Australia to lose a match. And that's something that, I mean, it helps in a way that before the ATP and the people were saying that only happens on the lower tour, let's say, in the futures or challenger events, but it's not true. It happens everywhere. And if these people is offering $100,000 or £100,000 for lose a match, you can imagine how much money they are making behind of it. It's a huge business, I guess.
Yeah. That's incredible. It's like you said, that's sad. It's very sad for tennis itself, and for the players. You don't feel the same atmosphere for the guys that want to do things properly. Maybe some other players they choose not to do things properly, and some need to do it because they need the money.
Yeah.
So in some regards, some of the players, even good could be, some young guys. They actually have a future, and maybe they can be a next big player, but they don't have anything at that point, and they have no choice. Mom and dad don't have money, no sponsor.
Yeah, from my perspective, they have a choice, but it costs you a lot of work, months, like practicing a lot, while you can do it in 1 hour. So for me, there is not an excuse to do it. I mean, it's wrong anyway. Even doesn't matter who does it, but it's wrong anyway. I mean, if you see deeply, then at the end, it's exactly we go always exactly the same situation. The system is not working very well. It's not gonna change. Apparently, they don't want it to change, and even the women are in the worse situation than us. But somehow they fix less matches than us. So it's a big hole, I guess, and as soon as the ATP or ITF don't really accept it and take care of it, then it's just going to get worse and worse and worse, as it is already, because it's an amazing quantity of matches being fixed around the world.
Yeah. And how did you feel about because John McEnroe came out public with he was supporting you. How did you feel about that? Did you know before it came out, or No,
just my wife actually sent me a message saying, "Look, who came out," because she didn't know who was it. So she told me, no, this guy said something about you. You can take a look. And then it was funny. It was but I didn't know. And I think it was something beautiful that came out. It's a shame because only a few guys said what they had to say, what it has to be said, and there is a lot of guys and coaches and everything who came to me directly and showed me their support. So for that point, it was nice. But I always go to the same thing. It's something that there was a lot of players saying, "Look, if I would have something to say to the DIU, then right now with your situation, there is not a chance that I'm going to say anything, that I'm going to report anything." So they just got what they want. Just no people making report, no players making reports, and it's not gonna get better because you can include also the coaches that are fixing matches for their players, and it's a long story. It's a long way down. It's very, very sad. It's a very dark side of tennis that not many people knows. But I mean, I cannot change it. I just did what it has to be done to make it a bit better, and that's it.
What's your biggest regret? Whether it's tennis or life, or what's your biggest regret?
I think I came a bit late to live here in Europe. I think now it's a shame because I really enjoy to be here. I like everything. I don't miss that much my country or being that far from every tournament. So if you live in South America, it's much more complicated than any other part of the planet. Pretty much, there's no tournaments close by, and it just get worse and worse and worse even there. So I didn't want that for my tennis. I just needed more time at home because I really enjoy to be at home just with my stuff and also to get some order to my professional life. And it's just that's the only thing I regret, I guess.
Yeah. And your biggest challenge?
Yeah, is to be healthy 1 year. One normal year to be healthy, and I wasn't able to do it until now. And I hope with that the results will come like more consistently, and that's it. If one day, I think that one day I will get into the top 100, but it's not my real goal to be just 99, for example. Of course, I will not complain if I get it. Exactly the opposite. But my goal is to be 20 or 30, and I think this situation with the coronavirus and everything, it just, talking in a selfish way, just helped me to be healthy again. Hopefully, if I don't get the virus. But in terms of injuries or anything, I think we will see at the end. When we come back, how we come back, if the system continues to be the same, and how it will be. It's just
nobody knows.
Yeah.
And if you don't have kids at the moment, right?
No, just one dog, which works like a kid. But
and don't compare a dog and a kid. Right? No. When if you ever have kids, will you teach them to play tennis? Will you want them to play tennis?
I don't know. It's not something that I'd really think too much about it. Maybe tennis. Sometimes the tennis is too hard, mentally speaking, and I think there are too many beautiful sports around the world with the team spirit, which helps you to be like more united, or it helps you to be like something different. It's just tennis sometimes is too selfish, and it just no one really helps you. So it's for me it's a tough situation, I guess, in general. But sports for sure. But as I'm going to be living here in Andorra, then he will probably go to ski and just spend time there in the mountains.
I don't know if you saw that Djokovic, was it yesterday or today, he came out with a statement saying, going back to coronavirus, he said that if there is a injection, that he will not, I mean, for now, he's saying he will not take it. What do you think about that statement?
I think everyone can do whatever they want. It's something that is completely personal. If he doesn't want to get the vacuum, then I don't care. Literally.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
But you're saying because
if I see him on a tournament and I have to say hi with the hand, then I will do it. Because I mean, I'm not really afraid of it. But I mean, with an exception, if there is a rule that you can't shake hands, then of course I won't do it. But then he can do whatever they want. It's okay. For me,
and if it comes down to it, they say, look, you can't carry on tour because there's umpires, ball boys, many people around, fans. If they say, you know, it's compulsory, you must have this injection, what would you do?
It's a nice question. It's a nice question. I don't know if ATP is in a position that it has to obligate everyone to do what they want. Because at the end of the story, not many players trust on the ATP or ITF or whatever. So why should I trust on someone who didn't support me or didn't support anyone outside of the top 100? It's not just me. It's completely. It's a big situation. So I just don't think I can trust on anyone there.
I don't blame you. After your story, it's very difficult to trust anybody.
Yeah, no, not even my story. But I mean, if you go to some challenges, man, you can see that they don't care about us. They're just trying to do some little things there, little things up there, down here, but it doesn't really want it to be changed. And I just don't trust.
And changing again a little bit, what's your favorite country or city?
Country here in Andorra.
Andorra.
Yeah,
and favorite city you have been to so far?
City here where I live is not even a city.
Yeah.
Less than smaller than a town. It's called El Serrat. It's the last town in the mountain. So I don't see humans. I just see some animals around here, and for me, it's the perfect place.
And favorite food?
Asado is meat. Barbecue. Yeah, but just meat. Not stupid things around. Just meat.
That's the other thing. Yeah. No talent. Talent's for the rabbits.
Yeah. I'm sorry for the vegans, but I just like meat and I enjoy it every time I take it.
Favorite tennis player?
Before, when I was young, it was Sampras. My father was watching him a lot. And then while I was growing up, it was a mix between Albandian and then Ferrer at the end. So the last years it was Ferrer because he's amazing, just amazing.
Warrior, complete warrior.
Yeah,
for sure, gladiator. And one last question before we finish. Now that everybody's on the Instagram live, two last questions. How many interviews have you done since you locked down?
Maybe 7, 8.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit more. But it's okay. Sometimes, I mean, usually when I accept to do those interviews is because I enjoy it. I don't do. I mean, not knowing the guy. I mean, I don't usually do. So in this situation, because you are a brother of Steven, then I agreed to do it, and I enjoy it every time that I can speak, and also with the other interviews. So I just enjoy the time.
That's great. And last one. So, everybody has this virtual player now. If you had to choose serve, backhand, forehand, volley, and touch, whose shots would you take?
Touch. Me?
Okay, you can't choose you.
Touch is a drop shot on those stuff, huh?
Yeah.
I trust on myself. So, touch me. forehand, Federer for sure. Backhand has to be active player or could be.
No.
No, so backhand Nalbandian.
Good choice. Yeah.
Serve. I choose Sampras, and also his volleys.
Yeah.
And then movement probably Federer as well, because the way he moves is just perfect, or Djokovic. But sometimes I think that Djokovic can spend. I mean, if I am normal guy and try to copy Djokovic, then I will have to spend much more energy than if I try to copy Federer. So I just go for Federer.
And mental?
Mental Ferrer.
Very cool. I think you're one of the few guys that I've been even online that I've been seeing. Everybody's chosen Nadal for something, but I think you're the first guy not to choose Nadal, which is
but
good.
I think
many people the same.
Yeah, but maybe because I mean when I see him, then I just see a lot of effort, and sometimes it's too much. You don't. I mean, for being a human being, is tough to. I mean, for me, it's very tough. For me, very tough. I just try to choose the normal guys, more normal at least.
Well, Marco, I think that's it. Thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate that you've given us almost an hour, and the time's about to run out on Info Live. So thank you so much. Good luck with everything. I hope you get back on court and everybody else as quick as possible.
Thank you.
And I can't thank you enough.
We'll see. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Gracias, Marco.
Gracias.
Cuídate.
Ciao.
Listo. Ciao. All right, guys. Thanks a lot for tuning in today. English accent. And I'll be posting in the next day or two our next